Meanwhile, President-elect Donald Trump
it.
already working the phones with world leaders. First up, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Netanyahu's office says Donald Trump called him to vow to work with him in Israel's fight against Hamas and Hezbollah. CBS News senior foreign correspondent Holly Williams live for us in Tel Aviv. We wanted to tell our viewers we're on about a 4-second delay, my voice to Holly's voice. But question for you, Holly. Do we know the fullness of what was said and promised on that call?
Reid, look, we don't have a lot of details, although Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was clearly delighted that he was one of the first world leaders that President-elect Donald Trump spoke to after his victory. The Prime Minister's office here said that the two discussed the, quote, Iranian threat. Now, that is a reference to the shadow war that has long been fought in this region between Iran and Israel, that in recent months has come out into the open, with both sides directly targeting each other with strikes. The U.S. is very worried that it could widen the conflict here in the Middle East even further. Before the phone call, Netanyahu, in a statement, congratulated Donald Trump in extremely enthusiastic terms, saying that his win was, quote, history's greatest comeback. Now, Trump, as you know, was a staunch supporter of Israel during his first term in office. And here in Israel, just a few days before the U.S. election, a poll found that 66% of Israelis wanted Donald Trump to win. Only 17% were supporting Vice President Kamala Harris.
So Benjamin Netanyahu must feel some sense of power, given these new developments. He's digging in his heels. We do know he fired Yoav Gallant. So a big question, will a Trump presidency do anything to end the war, or do we expect a deepening of these conflicts now that he has that confidence?
Yeah, look, such an interesting question, Reid. Trump said repeatedly during the campaign that he wanted the war in Gaza to finish, but he didn't really give any details about how that could or should happen.
Right.
So we don't really know what might happen in concrete terms. But there have been increasing signs of strain between Netanyahu and the Biden administration over the war in Gaza, in particular the civilian death toll. The Hamas-run health ministry says that more than 43,000 people have been killed during the war in Gaza, and the dire humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip. But, you know, despite criticism from overseas, including from the US and even here in Israel, Netanyahu does seem determined to push on with the war and achieve his stated goals of destroying Hamas. On Tuesday, as you pointed out, even firing his own defense minister, in part over disagreements they had about what the goals of the war should be. Reid.
Holly, thank you so much for that live report from the Middle East. Be well, be safe. Thank you.